my calling comes from seeing the disconnection between local communities and what was there wasn't African, wasn't Zimbabwean. We're not commercializing our culture. What we want is you come and see how people actually live. So we are taking back the culture to its original custodians to deliver it. Every individual has an obligation to sell Zimbabwe.
Biggest myth about rural tourism?
It's for the poor.
Victoria Falls, one of Africa's most visited destinations. It draws people from all over the globe. But beyond the iconic views, many travelers are searching for something deeper. Culture, authenticity, a real human connection. So what does that actually look like on the ground, especially in rural communities? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Views and Vibes with JVan, where we explore the stories shaping tourism, culture and community from Victoria Falls to the world. Today I'm joined by Taku Mutepfa, who is working at the intersection of cultural tourism, rural communities and conservation. For the very first time, we right here on our Views and Vibes are actually doing a podcast that we're doing remotely. Mr. Mutepfa is elsewhere and I chose to actually come here to Lanyula so that I can give you the ambience of the place. Mr. Mutepfa, Taku, welcome to the show.
Yes, hello. Thank you for having me around. How are you?
No, everything is good. Everything is beautiful. I'm sitting in your garden.
Oh my God, I miss that so much. I miss it.
Yeah. I'm enjoying. The so it's just fresh air. I've actually just gone on a tour. The guys that just took me on a tour, I've seen the rooms, I've seen the gardens, I've seen, a lot is happening here. And with that, in my back pocket now, at least we can have a conversation.
Fantastic.
Right. Maybe for those who may not know you, let's start with you. Who is Taku, particularly, who is Taku Mutepfa beyond tourism?
Good question. My background is not tourism actually. I'm actually a novice. I'm just an ordinary person like anybody else. My background is medical and it has nothing to do with tourism. But I have a draw or maybe a natural calling into the tourism sector, and my calling comes from seeing the disconnection between local communities and the tourism sector in Victoria Falls and Hwange in particular. So there is a big gap in terms of the communities who reside around Victoria Falls and Hwange. So they are not stakeholders. They are like seeing things happening but not getting involved. But I found that that link, the missing link, that there's a calling that I should come in and join the dots. So that's where I come in.
Where would you say was the light bulb moment? How did it exactly begin?
So that's a very good question again. 10 years ago, I visited Victoria Falls looking for a cultural place where I could enjoy local food, feel at home, and I was told there's none. And what was there wasn't African, wasn't Zimbabwean. So there's no Zimbabwean product in Victoria Falls in Hwange. There is absolutely nothing that we can call Zimbabwean. So it's a cash cow that is no Zimbabwean input in it. So that's where we are trying to address. We are going to address that issue head on, and we are working on it for the past 10 years to try and sort that out.
That's beautiful. Now, I'm actually right here at a Lanyula Cultural Village. If you can tell me specifically, how did the cultural village, come about?
Okay, so we have so in our traditions, in our cultural tradition that we do, we normally travel to Ekaya, is it Kumusha, and to our rural homes. So people would now these days travel to Victoria Falls and all that, and they also want to have a cultural experience. They want to teach their children on how they could either behave when they're in a rural place, or they have advice from their angle. So we have a heritage center or a cultural village that has almost all the groups that make up Zimbabwe represented. So, for example, there's a Tosa community in Zimbabwe who wants to have a Tosa wedding, right?
Oh, yes.
And they're looking for a venue as well close to maybe a honeymoon place. The whole village can be set up within minutes.
Okay.
With the community, the Tosa community can set up the way they want to decorate it. It's set up in that. So it's an African product that has a Zimbabwean product imprint. So any group is free to do whatever they want to do. So they would come, Endau person would come and say, I want to have Endau function here. Is that possible? So before that, in Victoria Falls, you could never do that. There was you can't come into Victoria Falls and do your cultural thing. So so we needed to create a space for Zimbabwean communities, so that we want to look within, not outside. We are looking within to find answers.
Maybe if for the sake of those that may be outside of Zimbabwe, how would you best describe rural and cultural tourism for somebody who is out there?
I would describe it in Zimbabwe as still an unexplored area that hasn't been looked into. There is less support in that area. People just live, because we look at the area where we are in Lanyula Cultural Village is in what we call Region 5, a very dry and arid region in Zimbabwe, where agricultural produce is not year in, year out. It's wildlife as well, wildlife conflict. So we can't rely on agriculture as the way forward for us rural communities. So we have to have answers. So the answers come from our own culture. So our own culture, people would want to come and see and connect how we live, how we lived in the past, and how we shape the future. So those people that are coming to visit Zimbabwe, they want to come to a place, our place, we call it a one-stop village, where everything happens. So you don't need to go, let's say you've landed, you're a non-Zimbabwean, you've come from, say, Kenya, right? You've come from Kenya and you've come to Zimbabwe. You want to see how the Zulus, you want to see how the Ndebeles, how the Ndawus, how the Tongas, how the Nambians live, right? How the Luales live. So everything is within one village. So everything is done one-stop village. So we want to look within for answers for sustainability, not outside answers, within our own people. So we also we have people who are artists, who are craftsmen, who can do baskets, who can do all sorts of things, but they have no market, right? So when the visitors come to see us, they can now buy the artifacts from the same village, rather than going to Victoria Falls. So you buy from people that you have actually seen making them, souvenirs. So that's the direction we are taking.
When it comes to
right,
when travelers say they want authentic experiences, for example, what does that actually mean on the ground?
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Did you get my question?
Come again.
Well, I was saying, when travelers say that they want authentic experiences, what does that actually mean on the ground?
Fantastic. So what we mean, the direction that things are happening in Victoria Falls, to us, we are taking a different, around about 10 different direction, because we are not there. We are not commercializing our culture. What we want is you come and see how people actually live in the local villages, and the reality of it. So you also hear people telling their own stories. We don't manufacture stories. So communities come and amplify their voice, come and tell us their story, and visitors want to hear that. So in a way, is we want to tell our own stories. We don't want the stories to be told by someone else. So the Zimbabwe is made up for different groups of people. So they all have a different background. So those different people would come and tell their story. Some of it could be through music. Some of it will be through art. Some of it will be actual visuals. So all sorts of things. So we listen, we get from these communities what they want. So, for example, giving you an example, the Tonga would say, right, we want to make some binga baskets for you, some Tonga baskets for you. So these baskets will tell us a story on our craft and our traditions. So they would make these baskets and they would show the visitors how they do it. And they get to appreciate it better because they are seeing the actual baskets being made in our village.
Any day is a cruise day with Galai Safaris. Bring your cooler box, bring your people, and we'll take care of the vibes on the Zambezi. Enjoy our dry cruise for just $25 or $20 for kids under 12 years. Or upgrade to an all-inclusive cruise at $50 with snacks and drinks for the ultimate chill on the water. Planning a school trip? We got you covered, just $15 per student. Galai Safaris, your affordable cruise experience in Victoria Falls. To book, call or WhatsApp 0777 011 812 and let's get you cruising.
All right. Now, maybe take us into the experience. What would a typical visitor experience at Lanyula, say from arrival to departure?
Right. So it's different. So our visitors also are different. But so okay, say for example, someone has come from outside Zimbabwe, who is not a domestic tourist. So it's standard for any visitor that comes to our village that will give them a welcome dance, be it local or be it international. They get the traditional dance from the local villagers. So the local villagers will come in and perform for them on the welcome, because we know before they land and when they are coming and they have a welcome dance. And in our culture and our traditions, we offer water as the first thing for our visitors that come in. So a water is one of those things that we symbolizes welcoming our visitors. So that's standard. So when these local communities come in, they do perform and dance, it's a communal support which brings everybody in the village into social mobility. Now the visitor engages with them and find out what if they're going to school and what's going on, and they get to know the story. So there's a connection. So in Victoria Falls, that wasn't happening. There's no connection. It's all commercialized. So we are taking back the culture to its original custodians to deliver it.
All right. Do you think that tourism can actively support, both cultural preservation as well as environmental sustainability? And also, still on that, when you're supporting those, if the answer is yes, can it also remain profitable?
Right. Very good question. But it also, because I think on profitability, it really depends on maybe over time, yes. But for us, on sustainability, like I'll tell you, for example, we are also into tree planting, growing plants and stuff like that, and we are teaching our local communities on preservation and conservation and saving of the elephant corridors. We are doing the groundwork, the dirty work. We do the dirty work for the tourism industry in Zimbabwe. If it was in a normal, we could get people supporting us for that work, because it's not a paid work. We give the trees for free. We just offer to the communities fruit trees and all that, so that as a way to encourage them to reduce or to stop deforestation. So on the second part of the question, you say profitability. There might be no profit in that sense, but it's now being passionate about saving the tourism and also about saving the economy of Zimbabwe. So it now comes about patriotism and passion, because it's not about money, because we don't get money for saving the elephant corridors or for saving the tourism industry of Zimbabwe. We don't get any reward for that. Just taking you back a few years ago, we circled from Mutare to Victoria Falls, right? To Victoria Falls, campaigning to save the elephant corridors of Hwange and Victoria Falls. And there was no any reward in terms of getting any money rewards or any acknowledgement. There was nothing. But what we got is we got the information and the knowledge, and people are more aware of what happens by destroying the elephant corridors and the biodiversity. So people are aware, and there's no value in terms of money.
No, I get you. Now maybe. If we can move on, now I want to talk about, the issue of opportunities and growth. Where do you see the biggest opportunities for growth in terms of rural and cultural tourism? The biggest opportunities for growth?
The biggest opportunity is actually knocking now as we speak, right? We relied mostly, Victoria Falls relied on outside tourists for a while, because as Zimbabweans, we had no control of how guests come to Victoria Falls. But now, because the flights have been cancelled and the numbers are not the usual numbers for the peak season, so we are looking within. We are looking for schools, right, across Zimbabwe, right, who are visiting Victoria Falls, to say now they come here to Lanyula Cultural Village, they stay. They have a careers day. We invite all the stakeholders in Victoria Falls to come and showcase national parks, the police, the hoteliers, to come and showcase what they do in our village. So what we are saying is it's an opportunity that is opened, that's knocking on our door, and we take advantage of that. The weddings, the people were going to Victoria Falls before. No. They don't need to go to Victoria Falls for the weddings anymore. They come in the rural weddings, and we have the facilities, the capabilities to deliver things like weddings, corporate workshops, etc. You name it. And it's an opportunity that has come. And as we speak as well, the government of Zimbabwe and the government of Botswana are talking about removing the passports, right?
Yes.
They're talking about removing the passports and easy travel.
It's still, although that would be one of the best moves. I understand Botswana has the same, arrangement with Zambia, but with that one, there's still probably a long time before we can expect it, right?
Yeah. But the planning has already started, and but we are planning ahead. For us, we are planning ahead. For traffic, we have gone to Botswana to bring all the Botswaners, to bus them into Zimbabwe. And we want to bus them the opposite. We want all the Botswaners to come into Zimbabwe. So once you create the environment for them to come, I can't see the reason why the Namibians, the Botswaners will not come in. So they will come in. So these are opportunities that are being opened from the top. And we have to go to the village level.
Maybe still on that one, what can operators or stakeholders start doing differently? As you are saying, we're already planning ahead, for that eventuality.
So the opportunities have never been open for rural communities. That's one key you want to also. We are fighting every day. We are fighting because nobody recognizes us, because we are coming from the rural Zimbabwe. So we are not saying we are winning, because we are investors. We are Zimbabwean investors, so we are not recognized as investors. So we are actually calling for us to be recognized as the serious investors, right? But we are not recognized in Zimbabwe for being so. The operators, they will have a meeting, and the stakeholders, but they will not be invited on the table. We will just hear. But our calling is for us first to be recognized as serious investors in Zimbabwe. But when these things are discussed, they will never call upon rural communities who are into cultural villages like us to also be sitting on the table. So we have a long way to go. We have a long way.
Yeah. Now, I know you're a person who actually, travels a bit or a lot. I don't know what you
Yeah,
prefer.
yeah, I do.
But I just want from your experience and also just from your understanding as a tourism player, how is Zimbabwe positioned globally when it comes to cultural and rural tourism?
So on a global stage, we are so behind. So the trailblazers or those who are ahead of us, like Kenya, that have been ahead on the game, are straight ahead. But in Zimbabwe, it also comes from our own communities that we need to start appreciating ourselves and loving our own culture first as a first step. So we are not yet there. We look down upon our culture. So once we appreciate better by even like simple things about liking our own Zimbabwean music. So we start by doing that.
Yes,
So we
yes,
develop from
yes.
there. So we are still a little bit behind in terms of we appreciate things that are outside, but not those that are within. So we want to
Now,
start by teaching our children to actually like our culture, and it started from there.
now let's talk about the positive shifts. What positive shifts are you seeing?
Yeah, there's a lot of positives, a lot, because we are in a time when the chips are down. So we always say when the chips are down or when things seem to be like difficult, like we say, the economy hasn't been doing well for some years, right? But what we are seeing is because for us we are looking within. We are not using look. If I don't know whether they've done a walk around, you've seen the jacuzzis we make. We are just finding the
Yes,
rocks. We are
yes,
not importing.
yes.
We are not importing anything. Our sinks that we make ourselves. Our doors we make ourselves. So we have been able to create our craftsmen locally. So we've been everything has been designed in the village, right? We make every from beds, right? So it's an opportunity. So when the chips are down, so the economy is hard to buy things in US dollars, so we make our things ourselves. So we have been
Now,
able to value add. So you
now
see,
coming to the say the international visitors, um, what's that one thing, or maybe some things that the international visitors may often misunderstand about this space?
right. So there was a bad image prior. That's why we are trying to. If you look at my content all the time, I try and fight that bad image about Zimbabwe. It's poverty, in the faces of our mothers being used. It shows that donated dollar to feed 10 families, something like that. So
Oh yes,
so
oh
that
yes.
has been yeah. So that bad image, think there's poverty, there's crime, but and yet everything is nothing like that. Zimbabwe is one of the most beautiful places, probably on the planet, on the
Yeah,
planet.
yeah.
But the image that is portrayed is not the same as what is on the ground. So we need to correct that. So also, I think on our part as Zimbabweans, we need to play our part. It shouldn't come from somewhere else, like an organization. It should come from individuals. We need to have a good image about our country and try and sell it as an individual person and say, wow, Zimbabwe is a very good, we don't, we look after someone is lost, we help you, and, we return things. If they're lost, if lost and found, we do those things. We don't, small things like that. So we
I
go a
think
long way.
I think when it comes to Ubuntu as a country, Zimbabwe, I think we should be one of the
We
best.
are top.
In terms
Yeah,
of
yeah,
you're
that's true.
walking in the streets, you ask somebody for
Yeah.
directions, you don't have to pay for it. If you have a
No,
serious problem, no, people are always smiling. You
yeah,
greet people, they
yeah,
greet back. And that is something that is not often told as much,
yeah.
as the negatives about the country.
Yeah. So that's actually one thing, one sign advantage we have. So we can just also use that now to welcome our visitors. So that it's not about luxury things. So they're coming to our rural areas, and there isn't much of luxury, but we try and give them the basics that they need, like water, electricity is there, and things like that. That's what they want.
Now
Yeah.
let's talk about the young people. Obviously, they are the future. How can they get involved? Let's talk about the young people and also in general, the rural communities. How can they get involved in this thing that, seems to be something that is going to be very big even moving into the future?
Right. So that's a very good question. So as you maybe have seen, we have got campers right on site now who are learning about wildlife already camped, coming all the way from another part of Zimbabwe. So the younger generation are getting already. We are already on the ball to bring them in, right? And they learn about the culture, the country, the positive vibes. So they are also learning on how they will take the country forward. So every individual has an obligation to save Zimbabwe, and we are doing that. So we are actually inviting even the schools that we are going to be inviting to come and stay, and they're going to learn quite a lot, and then they'll build from there going forward in either careers, pathways. The children can choose to become to work for the national parks, to either join the police, to join the hotelers, things like that, through the work that we have done. Some will go into conservation and things like that.
That's great. That's great. Now, for you specifically, what would success look like, say, in the next 5 to 10 years?
The next 5 to 10 years, my ambition is my ambition and my dream is to go across the country, and we have already started doing that across provinces. From Manicaland, we've worked in Manicaland, we've worked in Mashonaland East, we've worked in Matabele North, and also in Mashonaland West. So what it entails is we want to create something never seen yet in Zimbabwe. So we want to have, that will be the prototype of what Zimbabwe would look like in across from Zambezi to Limpopo. Someone in the future will come and approach me and say they want the same model across the country. That is going to happen one day, because we are already creating what we call the next generation of African villages. So we are developing Zimbabwe using the only resources we have. We are not breaking our legs or our arms, going to import things. We are just going across, picking rocks, using what we have, resources, trees, to build the next generation of African villages. It's cheaper and it's quicker.
Wow, that sounds beautiful. Taku, thank you so much. We're getting into our final segment. I'm going to be giving you quick fire questions. Basically, I just need you to come through, say, with the quickest answer you can come with. Don't overthink. Just give it to us. It's just a fun, segment, but that lets us into you a little bit more. Are you ready for that one? Quick fire questions.
Good.
All right, let's go. The first one: local or international tourist?
Local.
Local. Culture or luxury?
Culture.
One word to describe Zimbabwe tourism.
It's work in progress.
Work in progress. Wow. Okay. Biggest myth about rural tourism?
It's for the poor.
Oh, hey, that's deep. That one is deep, that one. One experience that every visitor must have.
There will be, what they need is when they visit us, they will find the ultimate. They will actually see that Zimbabwe is probably the best country on the African continent.
On that one, so it's visit Lanyula Cultural Village.
Yeah. And also, we always say we are probably the center of the universe. And if you haven't been to Lanyula Cultural Village, you haven't been to Zimbabwe. You have to go to Lanyula Cultural Village, and then you can claim that you've been to Zimbabwe. That if you have never been to Lanyula Cultural, you've never been to Zimbabwe. Never.
Alrighty. And then the final one: what keeps you motivated?
What keeps me motivated is my dreams. I haven't achieved them yet. So once I have achieved them, then I can relax. I still have a long way to go. 10 years. It's 10 years. But I've gone gray already. But I think I have to achieve them before I leave this planet.
Looking for a truly authentic Zimbabwean experience? Discover Lanyula Cultural Village, located in Lubangwe, between Victoria Falls and Hwange. Step into the traditions of the Nambia, Ndebele, Shona, and Tonga people with cultural tours, traditional food, music, dance, and hands-on village experiences. Stay in comfortable chalets, enjoy camping under the stars, or host your next event in a unique cultural setting. Lanyula Cultural Village. Experience the culture, live the story. To book or learn more, WhatsApp +263 714 206 943.
No, that is super. That is great, Taku. Thank you so much for your time, my brother. Would you have any final words that maybe you would like to share, with the viewers on our views and vibes with JVan?
Okay, thanks very much. The final word for the day is Zimbabwean support is like this. Zimbabwean support is like this tiny. We get very little Zimbabwean support. Is comparison to inquiries we get international people outside the Zimbabwean border. So can this change? This kind of small thing like this. If that changes, Zimbabweans need to rally behind other Zimbabweans, lift them up. They know better how we are struggling, and the mindset has to change. So the mindset of the Zimbabwean, I don't know how. If you could help me change the mindset, that would be wonderful if you could do that.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, man. Really, this is an important one. Over years, I've interviewed many different, tourism operators. And one of the things that they always mention is the fact that they say, so and so, Zimbabweans are not supporting me. And I'm thinking maybe, you might need to create some sort of, I don't know what needs to be created so that people can sit down together and discuss these kind of things. I've interviewed also, women in this business who say women are not supporting me. And I always say, how come everyone is saying everyone is not supporting them? Maybe we need to create some sort of a structure, some sort of, collaboration, type thing so that everybody can meet everybody. I think we need more of, those type of exhibitions and stuff where local tourism players can meet local tourism players. How about that?
I think that initiative should actually it shouldn't come this late. It should start as soon as, because we really need that. There's an oversight. We are forgotten, and because we are in the rural areas. So it also advocates so that we are also invited in these platforms where they meet up. So we are forgotten because we are in the rural areas. So nobody really remembers that we are there. So, but we sell Zimbabwe. If you look at we work hard. It's the rural communities that are pushing Zimbabwe right back to the world map again. So we need acknowledgement to come through.
All right. Thank you so much, Taku. And of course, tourism is not just about destinations. It's about people. It's about culture. It's about the stories that connect them. And conversations like this remind me, and they actually remind us, all of us, of the opportunity we have to build something more meaningful. This has been Views and Vibes with JVan. You know how we usually do it. If you're watching this at this time, thank you so much, because it means that you have watched us until the end. The name is DJ JVan. Make sure to follow us on all social media. It's JVan Sibanda. That's Facebook, X, and also TikTok. As well as Instagram, that is JVan Sibanda. And also follow the page Romo Media, that is where we actually post these ones. And on YouTube, again, it is Romo Media, that is where you're going to be getting this episode of Views and Vibes with JVan. Thank you so much to Taku, and of course, thank you so much to Lanyula. We're also going to be dropping a new different show, so make sure to click subscribe on our YouTube page so that when we drop our brand new show, then you're going to be the first one to actually see that. Otherwise, Ayoba, thank you so much.